Hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the BenQ Screen Bar Halo. I'll be giving a review of this device after having used it for the past year, before telling you whether or not it's worth purchasing. Since I am a fan of upfront conclusions, I'll say that if you've got the cash to splurge and are on the fence, this thing is definitely worth the purchase. And it may just be one of the best desk accessories that you will have ever bought. However, if you're on a budget, there are definitely cheaper alternatives out there that will get you 90% of the benefits that this thing offers. But yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So for those of you who have never heard of a screen bar before, essentially what it is it's just another way to light up your desk. So the most basic way you can imagine doing this is by using the overhead lighting in your room to light up your desk space. However, what you'll find is that when you're working late at night, the room will often come across as too bright, and that can cause a lot of eye strain and headaches, and it can affect things such as your sleep quality because you're being exposed to such bright light late at night. So the next natural upgrade would be to get a dedicated desk lamp for your desk. However, the issue you've now introduced is that it's difficult to achieve an even light distribution because the light source is only coming from one side. And this is especially the case if you're working from a monitor, which I imagine most of my audience does. And that's because these desk lamps usually cause reflections on your screen. And not to mention that the lamps also take up a lot of desk real estate, which is going to be an issue if you're working at a small desk. And the solution for this, at least the one that I'm proposing, is that you get a screen bar, which all it is it's a light which you can attach to the top of your monitor to light up your desk. And the advantage of using a screen bar is that the light source is now coming directly from above your desk, and it lights up your entire space, which reduces the level of glare you get on your screen. It removes shadows, and because of that, it reduces the risk of eye strain since you're not stuck in front of a brightly lit monitor anymore. Now, what makes this screen bar from BenQ so special is the fact that it comes with this halo backlight, which lights up the back of your monitor. And this provides something called bias lighting, which essentially helps reduce eye strain and headaches even more when you're using the monitor in a darkly lit room. So looking at the design of this thing, you can see that it looks and feels very premium and well built, which is very surprising given it's made of plastic. But it fits perfectly with my Apple Studio display, which of course is a very premium monitor. And so yeah, this thing does not feel out of place at all. You can adjust things like the angle by 30 degrees depending on whether you want the light to hit your desk, and the top of the mount has foam protectors to make sure the light bar doesn't scratch the top of your monitor. And in the box, you also get an adapter for if you want to mount this onto a curved monitor. On top of that, it comes with a wireless touch control dial, which is powered by 3 AAA batteries that lets you hover over the dial to adjust the brightness, the color temperature, or you can automatically let the light bar detect the optimal levels of brightness based on the level of ambient light that's in your room. Sort of like the auto brightness feature that exists on most smartphones nowadays. As far as installation goes, it's pretty basic. You just sit this thing onto the top of your monitor. There's a round edge here that hangs off the back and a hook for the front. And you'll have a USB-A port for power delivery, which means for most monitors, you can simply stick it into the back of your monitor to power it. As far as downsides go, my biggest pet peeve with this thing is the fact that the dial only works by touch control. Personally, I would have preferred it if BenQ used a controller with actual physical buttons, because I'm not a fan of having to hover over the dial, waiting for a second for the options to pop up, and then having to tap on the correct setting I want to change. But I'd say the biggest factor which will deter a lot of people from buying this is the price. So this thing costs £149 in the UK, which is a pretty hefty price tag for what most people would consider to be just a fancy piece of lighting. And if price is a big factor for you, there are plenty of cheaper options from brands like BenQ, who sell light bars for as low as £40. Obviously, you won't get all of the fancy features like the wireless dial or the Halo backlighting, but you can still try and mimic this by getting a cheap LED strip and sticking that to the back of your monitor as a cheaper alternative. The most important thing to do if you're buying a light bar is to make sure it has anti-glare and blue light technology, because that's what's going to help to reduce eye strain when you're working late at night. So to answer the question from the start, is this thing worth the purchase? I'd argue that it is. I know that for myself. I spend a lot of time working at my desk, working on my laptop, my monitor, taking notes on my iPad, and a lot of the time I'm working late into the evening and at night, burning that midnight oil. And having this thing has just been a game changer, because it means that I can turn off my room lights and still keep my desk lit up without taking up a whole ton of desk real estate. Not to mention the fact that my eyes will thank me for this in the long run. And so I'd really see this as a long-term investment. Something you'd hold on to for 5 to 10 years. If I use this thing for 5 years, that's £149 spread across 5 years, or an average of £30 a year for protecting your eyes, which I'd say is a worthwhile payment. But yeah, that wraps up today's video. Do let me know in the comments down below whether you think this product is worth the $149 price tag, whether you think it's worth more or less. If you found this video helpful, do leave us a like, and if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, hit subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.